Let's talk about some stuff. Let's see if anybody comes in here. I doubt it. Notifications have been horrible. Text, how's that gig coming in? Right lane, I got your phone calls middle of rush hour and I forgot to call you back. I apologize. Next Gen, Music Bandit. Let's see. 13 people in here. 73rd, going good, my friend. Good deal, man. Good deal. Let's see. Ralph Loda, what's up? Kimberly Wall, how's it going? Long time no see. LOL. Ratman Roden, how's it going? So I've made it here to my delivery in Dallas, Texas, and we deliver first thing in the morning. And this lot is full. The staging lot is full. You probably did beat Daniel. We're gonna call you beating Daniel anyways. Old fat white guy, what's up? Truck for life. Hill Rider is in the house. So I had an interesting phone call today, and it was the dealership. I am in your hood, man. I am in your hood. Good pull gear. What's up? An interesting phone call. So I bought this truck, my Kenworth T680, from MHC in Joplin, Missouri. A guy named Ron was the sales rep. He had been at Kenworth for 26 years. Helped basically a year after the store opened. That's how long he's been there, right? It's a buyer's market. That's what I was going to get at, right? So I get a call. He's like, hey, this is so-and-so from MHC, man. Just wondering, it's been about 3 years. Are you looking to maybe change your equipment out? And I said, well, what are you talking about, new or used? He's like, well, used. We are flooded. And this was his words, not mine, okay? His words. We are flooded with so many trucks that you can probably pretty much name your price. Sales guy than one I dealt with. And he goes, well, if you know anybody, because I told him I wasn't really in a position to buy a truck. And here's the interesting part. So a year ago, I told you guys that when the market turns down, it will become, like Right Lane pointed out, a buyer's market. You're in Weatherford? Yep, the trucker's table. That's absolutely true. And here's how the industry works, right? I'm inundated with emails and phone. C doesn't send me like email stuff because they have my email address, right? People will tell you right now is not a good time to enter the owner-operator market, right? They'll tell you wait till it's good. But here's the issue that you have with that. If the market is doing really good and the demand for trucks is up, price of the trucks go up, right? And so it's easy to go out and buy a $4,000 a month truck and sit there and think that you can make it work. A year goes by, maybe 2 years goes by, and you find yourself struggling a little bit more as rates come down, the market turns down a little bit, and you realize that you've overextended yourself. It's taken you 2 years to notice it, but now you're in a position where you don't know how to survive a down market with a high truck payment. But if you can buy a truck on a down market, number one, you save money on a truck. When it's good and you run correctly, unlike me, you're good to go. It's a great learning opportunity, right? And when you have a sales guy literally tell you, he used the exact phrase, you could probably name your price. You don't think that's a little tempting? Now, the problem with used trucks is if they're trade-ins from a carrier, you're probably looking at stuff that's out of warranty. You don't know what kind of problems the truck has. If they're so overwhelmed with all these used trucks, they probably don't have the records for them. And I was literally the second person or third person to own this truck. And then I got it. And so Prime had all the records. Well, not Prime, but the leasing company. Any work that was done at MHC, they had all the records, right? Or, you know, they didn't have that. But for the most part, I could see all the warranty work that was done. I could see everything that's been replaced. The driveline's been replaced. And then I kept records. So anybody who gets this truck will get a book about this thick. Not to mention the 100-page PDF that I have of everything before I owned this truck. But in a down market, when a dealership is flooded with trucks, you don't know what you're going to get, right? And so there's fixing to be a little bit of a crash in the trucking industry. There's fixing to be a little bit of a, what do carriers do? From 100 trucks up, what do? They lease trucks for 3 years, get them up to 300,000, 400,000 miles, then they trade them off, right? They all do that. Now, Crete will buy their trucks, but after they get a certain age, they sell them to the people that want to be owner-operators for a good price, and then you own the truck or whatever. But you know the history of the truck, right? If you're a big company, leasing's the way to go, because you now use warranty to help cover. And so when you got almost every carrier in the nation doing that 3 weeks, because everybody's doing that, right? So think about extended warranties, and you've got a huge flood of used trucks that definitely probably need some TLC that may not have gotten it from the carrier. Part of the Celadon deal was that they had trouble maintaining their equipment, so it wasn't worth as much as they thought, as they originally stated, right? And so I would be very leery of buying an ex-Celadon truck. People have reported that they see people in brand new Celadon trucks, and so maybe that truck, but Celadon took the hit. So if you can find something like that, something that's got maybe 50,000 miles on it, pay 120 for it, you still got factory warranty, there's something like that. There's a lot of that. And then there's a lot of these trucks that use 50, 60. And so the problem with buying a used truck is you don't know the history, you don't know anything about it, and you don't know if it's going to be a lemon, and you better have cash and reserves just in case it is. And still painting all the rust, over all the rust, steam cleaning the engine, turning off the check engine lights, just to get it out of the lot. So you have to be really careful about that. But right now, if you are planning on wanting to be an owner operator, if you can get a really good price on equipment now, and if you can learn how to survive and doing well, because they're in a niche market, or they got the right contracts, or hook up with some kind of service that hooks you up with loads if you're self-dispatched, that kind of thing, you can really do well. And I'm not trying to encourage people to be owner operators. My only goal with this video is to report the fact that it's now a buyer's market. So if you're looking to replace your truck, now might be a good time. So, Big Houston, Mr. Cleo, start your own future reading virtual palm reading channel. Daniel doesn't like us anymore. He's hanging out with a new group. I agree with you, Pale Rider. Buffering in and out, of course. Glad to see the trolls are in here. Wait until the holidays are over and rates drop again, then there will be a lot of used trucks for sale. Well, there's already a lot now. Okay, so heard you say how difficult it is to buy a truck. So generally, do they move on price or what is it? I know it's nothing like an auto. Well, just the paperwork alone. You know, you got to have hauling reference. You're making a commercial investment, so it's not like out getting a car loan. They want to make sure that you got your ducks in a row. The biggest difference is now is that you can negotiate more. You've got more leverage. In the world of trucking, if you've got leverage, that's you know, whether you're negotiating loads or equipment, you're going to, you know, you have to have leverage. If you go to a dealership and they have hardly any trucks and you want to buy a truck from them specifically, you know, you're not going to get a good price. But if they got so many trucks that you can't even get in the parking lot and they just want to get rid of them, now you got negotiating power because they just want rid of them. You know, and part of that negotiating, you might be able to get, it might be easier to get a loan. It might be easier. Maybe you don't need a hauling reference. Maybe you don't need 4 years of CDL experience. You know, I had to prove for my first truck, I had to prove I had 6 years of being a CDL owner, or, you know, having a CDL. And I had to have really good credit. But with that, I only had to pay $2,000 down for my truck, my first truck. This truck I didn't have to have. Well, the money down was from my trade from the Peterbilt. So now the system's designed that if you get something new, they might negotiate where you don't need any money down. That's how it was with my trailer, because they can get you more on the interest rate on that, right? But I don't know, but if you can get into a used truck, very little down, you know, where you can keep reserves for any incidentals that might come up, you know, that might be a good thing. So, Big Rich, what's up? Now's a good time for carriers to take on drivers. Absolutely, it's well, I want to say it used to be a driver's market, but with all the layoffs and everything, that might not be the case. But I know that in 2009, there were a lot of carriers that used to take CDL students, and then they didn't. They had to be choosier about who they picked, because there was an overabundance of people coming out of CDL school, and they could have. So, you know, that market fluctuates. You know, just being a company driver, you can either benefit or not benefit from it, right? Just had to have the truck jumped off for the second time. Can't even cut it off or it dies. Oh man, off, aren't you? So it's, you know, I just want to put it out there that we are, you know, if you're looking to buy a truck, you might want to look at the used market situation, where a year ago you might have needed an 800 credit score, or you might have need X amount of years or something, you know. Now you may not need as much. So that's where it might change every quarter. Buy an extra truck, so when it's in the shop, you have a backup. Hi, Steve. Hey, Craig. What's up? Well, just the truck sitting in your your yard or whatever, that's a liability and that's a cost. You got to insure it. You can't just like, like especially you, trucker sale, you're Landstar. Like, you got to have both trucks signed on the Landstar, so you got to pay insurance and everything else. You can't. I don't know if you could just switch back and forth. You definitely can't do rentals at Schneider or in Landstar. So you're kind of dead in the water. I was at a rest area yesterday. There was a guy there who had broken down for 3 days. Too broke to tow it or get it repaired. bigrigceo, what's up? Yeah, and that's the other thing. There's a lot of people fixing to go out of business because of scenarios that you just described. That's why I recommend anybody coming into this business without a line of credit at least. Because if that guy had a line of credit, he can get the truck towed and get it home and then cut his losses, have the bank take it back and be done, right? The Provost, what's up? That's why I don't recommend, if you're broke down and you can't even afford a hotel room, that's a problem. If you're a lease driver, like these seller on lease drivers, and they shut off your fuel card and you don't have a way to get home, you don't have a line of credit or enough money in the bank to get yourself home, that's a problem. And a lot of people don't think about that. It's amazing that people don't think about that. I went into this knowing that I had a good line of credit, right? And I've had to rely on it at times. I'll be honest with you guys. And to be in that situation like that driver you talked about in the rest area, I vowed I would never be in that situation. You have to have money for fuel to get home. If you throw your drive lane out 1,000 miles, that would be crazy high. So, but it might take them a month. You're gonna sit in a hotel for a month? No. You're gonna try to get a trip home and then get a trip back when the truck's done. Jeff Perkins says I have 2 sitting I need drivers for. That's the seats of those trucks. And whether you can trust those people in the seats of those trucks. Because think about this. You're in this thing 24/7, right? And if you're disgruntled and you don't own it, there's a much bigger chance of the misuse of equipment. And that's where buying a used truck could be scary. I mean, what is the person's attitude when you turn that truck in? What is it? Was it a successful lease? And now the carrier just wants to get rid of it? Was this a successful lease? So it's that's the things you have to worry about. And so those kind of practices are now catching up with the truck manufacturing industry and the dealerships. They're so flooded to deal with. The people that bought the $50,000-$60,000 trucks and decide, heck with this. You said at one time you need at least $1,000. bigrigceo told me Schneider was filing Chapter 7 next week. Just kidding. Is he in here? So I would definitely I definitely wouldn't want to be in the position where I bought a truck and then I have to find a driver for it. I definitely wouldn't want to be in that position. Because you hear all the horror stories of people turning their lease trucks in or just trying to find a driver, a qualified driver. Finding a driver is easy. Finding a qualified driver that's going to take care of their equipment like it's their own, that's tougher to find. You need way more than $1,000 in Houston, I think. I mean, especially if you're in a situation where you got $1,000 a week payment. $1,000 is nothing. Being an owner operator, do you know that's like that? Anyways, I thought I'd just go live and talk about this. MHC in Joplin says you can name your price. So if you're looking for a truck, maybe look at the used market. I remember when I was looking for trucks, I looked at, there was a used, it was $100,000, had about 100,000 miles on it. The Camry T680, but we couldn't make that deal work. So traffic was brutal tonight. Hill Rider will be in Joplin tomorrow. You go truck shopping, Hill Rider? And the other thing that I will point out is if you go to the Walmart in Wagner, Oklahoma, be aware that they no longer have parking for trucks. And that the improvised spots are down to a minimum as well. So I think that'll be the last time I go in that Walmart. That's where I got my lunch. How's Dodge K owner operator needs add another 9 on that. Right, there you go. You'll still be in Chicago tomorrow. Well, at least you're not driving in the snow there, Jason. You're not burning your pocketbook with having to idle the truck to stay warm. And that's the other thing. If I'm a company driver and I don't have an APU, this truck's idling. I'm going to be comfortable. You know, it's no hair off my back if you know, I'm not going to sit here and freeze or sweat. You know, your mentality changes when you start fronting the bill. Jose, hello from Miami. You're getting the oil change when you get empty tomorrow. Well, good deal, Pale Rider. If you got the PACCAR in that truck or the Cummins. Well, there you go. That's good. Cummins. Okay, good deal. Because if you had a PACCAR, Petro can do the oil change, but your mill light's going to come on because they don't have a way to turn that off because they don't have the software for the PACCAR. But Cummins will be all right. And I've never had any issues with that shop there at the Petro. I'm assuming that's where you're going. No, don't diss. I'm not dissing PACCAR. I got a PACCAR. I'm just saying that PACCARs have to be dealt with by the dealership. So, higher costs. I got the same truck, right, Lane? Except I don't have the fancy chain things. Good evening, Captain Graybeard. Yeah, why can't I get a troll account named Graybeard, you know? Undisclosed shop location is. You go to Kenworth, take a look at their stock there. So, anything else you guys want to talk about? Obviously, I'm back in the truck. I'm back to working. It's about time, I know. Plan on staying out till so. I am not. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not optimistic about January. You broke down today? No way. Man, December's just kind of a rough month all the way around. Talk about rates. Rates are actually pretty good. Right, Lane? The rate coming out of here really kind of surprised me. And I don't know if there's something capacity crunch going on in this area, but I know that I passed the Flying J in Loves in Anna, Texas today at 4 o'clock, and there were still spots to buy. There were spots to get into. Thought that was kind of interesting. Um, the load I got out of here, minimal deadhead, and pretty good rate. I was really kind of surprised, and it sucked because the load I was going to take I couldn't do it because it's freeze protect, and that would have made $200 less for 100 more miles. Belt tensioner, seats, broke belts, had to get towed. Oh man. That sucks. I think the status quo is going to be January and February. I don't see any changes. Well, tomorrow, the ELD mandate kicks in full on. So for you carriers that were waiting till the last minute period, there's a lot of things that you're getting away with that you're not going to be able to get away with. And Jeff was smart on putting us on ELD right from the beginning. So when it came time for the switch, we're already ready. We're ready to go. We've already strategized. We've already dealt with it. We've already adapted to it. So, you know, that was one of the best things that Jeff has done for Electrek. Been gone for warranty, right? Trucking with Kevin and Ollie Dog. What's up? Your warranty runs out January 1st. I get the extended. Been running the new ELD regulations since January. There you go. We did the same. Very good. Now here's something a lot of people don't think of. Like, so there was a Facebook post about there was a guy a mile away from his customer. And so he was wondering if it would be okay to use personal conveyance to get to the customer. And of course, everybody was like, "Nah, what's it going to hurt, right?" Here's where it's going to hurt, okay? If you personally have an accident that causes injury or worse, death, they will look at your logs. And anytime there was anything that you cheated on, it will be there. If you have an accident, preventable or non-preventable, where a death is involved, you definitely can count on an audit. I have a friend that went through that 10 years ago, and he knows. And, you know, if he wants to speak up, he can. And what they do is whether you're at fault or not, look at everything that they can get their chance on. No one wants to pay for anything, right? And so this insurance company goes after that insurance company, family, and all this stuff, right? And so what happens is you get tied up in, you're willing to put that money into versus $1 million settlement or whatever. But every carrier has some kind of, like, I'm not gonna call it hush money, but like, okay, we're sorry money. Here's 50 grand. If you'll drop this suit, and and we don't have to like go for this for 4 or 5 years, right? But in that time, They're going to get phone logs. They're going to get ELD logs. They're going to do a safety audit. They're going to go over everything with a fine-tooth comb. And so if you were cheating here and cheating there and cheating here, and, you know, anytime there's something out of the ordinary, they're going to go, okay, why did you do a purchase conveyance a mile away from your customer on December 8th, 2018? You know? And then also, they're going to look at, if you caused the wreck, they're going to look at your truck. They're going to look at your brakes. They're going to look at your tires. They're going to look at your mirrors. They're going to look at how clean were your mirrors, how clean were was your glass, how fast were you going. If you're doing 42 in a 40 mile per hour zone, you're speeding. Technically, if people knew the risk of being a truck driver, company or not, you probably wouldn't want to be a truck driver. If you cause vehicular manslaughter or whatever, you can go to prison. And so, or you're going to pay out the yin yang for lawyer fees to keep yourself out of prison. All right, so here's the friend, okay? I was hit head on in 05, and it was an absolute nightmare. bigrigceo. Maybe he can do a video telling that story. Right? Even if you get pulled into a scale, if you PC too much, it can affect everything for the next 8 days if you get DOT'd. Exactly. Happened to you in Missouri, says Kevin. That's the other thing. If they feel that you're abusing PC, guess what? you're gonna get fined. You're gonna get dinged. So that there's all these little things that they can get you on now. You know, the whole purpose of the ELD wasn't safety, it was for compliance, right? And yes, it's making it harder and harder to cheat. But if you do everything by the book, it reduces your liability, right? If you've never cheated on your logs, on an electronic log, that's easy to prove. So if you go in and you got a good safety, like if you're a small carrier, you got a good safety program and all your logs are like picture perfect, then they got no water. You know, they got nothing to stand on, right? So then they'll look at the equipment. And lawyers love money, and they think that we're cash cows out here. So whether, you know, so these are things you have to think about next time you want to fudge a little bit here or fudge a little bit there. You know, when we were all on paper, wow, incredible. It only takes a second to change your life, right? After you, whether it's your fault or not. And that's just the nature of the business. That's the nature of the world. I mean, if you're a factory owner and one of your workers gets hurt, that could be a nightmare, right? Tow bill was $380 and the safest way to proceed due to weather and location. Only $380? That's actually pretty good. What's happening? We were just talking about the used truck market and how I was told today that name your price if you're looking for a used truck. The negotiating is definitely in the hands of the person that's wanting to buy the truck. And then we were talking about how on Facebook I was seeing people talking about basically abusing personal conveyance and then the ELD mandate. So we'll have to go back and look. And then we were talking about bigrigceo's accident where he was involved, where, you know, it was a bad deal. So we were talking about that. So That's all, Jeff. That's all you missed. So, anyways, any comments, questions, concerns? We might make this short live feed. I know it's buffering in and out. I think it buffered the last time I did a live feed from here. So. Oh, you were bobtail? Okay. Well, that's why I got lucky. You just got here. Start over, John. So. TJ's coming to like trucking. Don't tell anyone. Well, TJ, I know we got a couple openings, so, you know, come on over. Come on over. The water's warm. But, anyways, I think that's the end of this video. So, and if you can learn how to survive in a down market, you're golden when things get good. Going to go eat Christmas dinner with my honey. Check y'all later. All right, Kevin. Freight Waves article, Morgan Stanley is predicting 2020. Aero truck sales by my house, they are loaded with trucks, right? Says Ralph. What are they predicting in 2020? It'll be like 2018 rates. I'm going to agree with you, Jeff. I think that, you know, there's a lot of companies that went out of business. The ELD is going to change the circumstances, and I feel that get through the winter, and then we'll be on an upswing. So, can I? Yeah, I can. In fact, I've thought about doing that. Just kind of give me some extra refinancing the truck and taking that extra money from not going to the truck payment and putting it back. So let's say I save up X amount of dollars, and when I have enough to pay off the truck, throw it over there. So you still pay it off in the same amount of time. But if I have a turbo goes down or something like that, so it basically be just me an extra maintenance fund that I can use to pay off the truck once it's at a certain point. Yeah, that's crazy, Jeff. Yes. The market is correcting itself by getting rid of poorly run companies, right? Because of how money management and fraud, don't forget that. But if a big company has trouble managing their money, do you think the little guy, the one truck operation that doesn't know how to manage their money, do you think they got a prayer's chance? No. I got to check out Freight Waves. Freight Waves have some really good information. You know. So when everybody was talking doom and gloom, I was trying to be a realist. I was like, you know what? We could see some bad times, but this is how you prepare for them. You know. Watch the deer. LOL. We are down by those dang deer. Yeah. December has not been a good month for light trucking, that's for sure. Do those deer whistles actually work? I mean, it's one of those things that, like, well, I've never been hit by a deer by having those things on my bumper. I don't know, that's kind of... No, they don't work. I put a Keurig in the truck last week. Total cost $400. Yep. Pay the cost to be the boss. Right there, Big Rig? You need a push bumper, right? I need to price those for Kenworth. Thought about getting one for myself. Although I did see a T6, no, it was a Volvo that was pushed up. He must have hit something pretty good. It was all messed up. Yes, they tell the deer they're sexy so they can come out and see what's whistling. That's funny. That's funny, Jeff. Worth every penny, right? So was hitting a deer that caused an accident? No. Not the big one you're talking about, TJ, no. No, we had 2 contractors hit deer, or get hit by deer. You never want to tell the insurance company that you hit a deer. You tell them that you got hit by a deer, which is pretty much the truth, really. Some, but not all freight waves is more opinion than news. Yeah, you definitely got to watch the articles that are opinions. You know, you can't take them as fact. Did you see the ad for the 2017 T680 leases through International? It's low payments. No. One of our teams has, because they hit 4 deer in a week, they spent about $1,300. Andrew, we got a guy that's probably at 20 grand for his deer incident. And you can't sit there and say, well, don't drive at night. Well, number one, it's winter time, right? So you got what? 8 hours of daylight. So you're going to be driving in the dark regardless. But I know many people have hit deer in the daytime. It's a little bit easier to see them coming and brake maybe a little bit, or anticipate, you know, them in the daytime. But for the most part, I've gotten close to hitting deer both day and night. You know, so you can't sit there and say, well, don't drive at night. Well, you can't help it. If you want to make money, you can't just run 6 hours a day. So trust me, I've tried. Michael, you almost got ran over by a deer when you were 19. I have a friend of mine that got hit by one on a Harley, and yeah, it was a bad deal. Correct, just in time, plus no more buying Pilot coffee at $2 a cup. Right. Oh, the push bumper was $1,300. Okay, Andrew, I misunderstood you. I apologize. We had deer in Santa Cruz. One tried to jump my friend's pickup and ended up in his front seat. That's crazy. Have to buy a 3,000 watt inverter. If you buy an inverter, number one, make sure it's a pure sine wave. Okay, here's a little nugget. You guys always want, oh, I want nuggets. Okay, here we go. Number one, don't get anything below a 3,000 watt. Number two, make sure you have heavy duty cables and they are secure, or you will burn your truck down. I know that by experience. And number three, make sure it's a pure sine wave, including your laptop that's plugged into. Go to International Used Truck Stocks. What's up? I was walking alongside of a highway on my way home from a party early in the morning, and a deer shot across the road and missed me by maybe a foot. Wow. I came in just from a deer on Highway 12 between Cambridge and Fort Esk in Wisconsin, 5 miles from the yard. Yeah. I was walking through the woods in my sister's property, and the dogs were barking. All of a sudden, I hear my sister go, "Oh my God!" And this deer ran right by me. Could have ran me over, but I moved. Number 4, have it professionally installed so you have someone to sue when the truck burns down. Absolutely, Big Rig. bigrigceo. And there was a person on Facebook that was complaining that it was a Schneider IC, and they're complaining that none of the truck stops would put in the inverter, and the Schneider shop would not put in the inverter. Very reason right there. So, if you're out there driving, be careful of the deer. Be as safe as you can. And if you're looking to buy, look at the used truck market. Name your price. That was what the sales guy told me. Name your price. And if you want to get your inverter installed, look at Thermal King or Carrier. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. And like, subscribe if you're cool. If you were bored, then why are you watching, right? See ya.